All right, here we are with a new episode of Hidden Threads. Almost said it wrong.
I saw you about to go.
What am I talking about? I only have one podcast, Victoria.
Yes, you do.
So typically when we start this on Mondays, the first one's kind of rough. Where me and Victoria's kind of like, yeah, we did some stuff. But today we're fired up, y'all. We are fired up. I'm telling you what. What do you think?
We're feeling like silly geese today.
Silly geeses. What about Canadian
energy?
What about Canadian gooses?
I love Letterkenny.
If we're in Canada,
Canada,
the 51st state, is that what Trump said? Is the 51st state? He's going to take it over.
He also said he was going to rename the Gulf of Mexico
the Gulf of America. So I saw a funny meme the other day. It said, there's no snow on the Gulf of Mexico. And it said, what about Gulf of America? It said snow. If y'all don't know, it snowed a lot down around Florida, all that stuff.
Yes, I got some really nice pictures.
It did. It snowed a lot down there. Let me get my cameras flipped over here, Victoria.
First time
we haven't seen Victoria yet.
No,
there she is.
First time it snowed in Florida in Pensacola since 1886.
Okay. Let's go behind the scenes a little bit, Victoria. Will you move that light closer to you?
Yes.
You are in the dark. We're moving a little bit here, y'all. We're getting Victoria so we can see her on the YouTube. So how it works, she doesn't have the sun coming in on her side. I have in my direction, I have a big window where the light comes in. She does not, so we have to put a light there. Now I can see you, Victoria.
Yay!
You look great.
Thank you so much.
All right, what are we getting into first? I think we talked about it a little bit this morning.
We're going to get into the Python script Magret.
Oh, yes.
What's my name?
Python script Magret and what's my name web. Okay, which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's do what's my name first. I feel like I'm more knowledgeable on that.
Victoria just got some training in that and actually worked some cases with it. Tell me about what you've discovered when you're on there.
Well, you don't have to have a PI license to use that.
Right. You don't?
You could just be a normal person and use it.
Right.
And it basically just like runs Google for the mention of these usernames.
Right. Is it Google?
I thought it was Google.
It's Google and it's all the search engines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
even dark web search engines.
Yes, because I found some dark web stuff on there. Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So it uses Google, but it also uses Bing. It uses all the small ones you never hear of. It uses DuckDuckGo. Everybody says DuckDuckGo is private, but it's owned by who? Microsoft.
Wow.
So do you think Microsoft?
Wow.
You think Microsoft is taking your information and storing it? Yes, they
absolutely.
are. So
that's wow. My granddad's always like, DuckDuckGo, you got to use that. That's the only way you're protected.
It does store your information. It's maybe not like Google, but it does. All right.
Wow.
It uses a different algorithm. I know that much, but they do store your stuff.
Gotcha.
Right? If you don't believe me, go to DuckDuckGo, do a search, wait a few days, go do a search, and they'll start pre-filling in your information. And we do in this What's My Name web. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay. It does gather information from the DuckDuckGo.
I saw all types of crazy things on that.
Yeah, you did.
You literally just put in an email address, hit the search button, and it'll just pull up results for what that username is attached to.
Did you try phone numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, it works there
And
too.
two phone numbers too, yeah.
Yeah, phone numbers are common usernames nowadays, so it does use those and searches that across the interweb landscape. The interweb. Yeah, so we used What's My Name. The reason why you may want to get a licensed private investigator that's familiar with digital forensics to do it, when you put a search in there, it's going to give you some results. And you may get into, you may say put your husband's stuff in there and it shows a pornography site. Mm-hmm. Okay. You click on it and it shows nothing really. Mm-hmm. It just says, hey, no results. That just means that their email address was used to access that site at one point or another. Okay. It requires further investigation.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So some people see that and are like, oh my God, he's into porn. I don't know about that. His email address may have been used in what they call a scraper situation. That's where these websites pay large sums of money to buy your email address from other sites. Right?
Yeah.
But it's a total investigation we do, right? You hear me say this all the time. So we use that as saying, yeah, he's into pornography. And then we use other evidence we find to say, yes, it increases that probability that he is.
To back it up.
Yeah, it backs it up.
Yeah.
So other sites that it pulls up is Reddit, which is interesting.
I've not seen a Reddit one yet.
But it does. It gets in the comments from these people. So we see comments, we see chats, we see them getting into Reddit conversations. It may not be pornography or cheating. They may be hiding money or something. They may ask a question. We had one time where a guy asked a question in Reddit where, hey, I want to hide some cash. And he got into a conversation with a guy on Reddit.
Wow.
You can see it in the stream, right?
Oh my God.
And eventually they said, hey, Hook, let's talk offline. And they did. So we found the other guy, and he's an offshore banker. So this guy had hit about $300K in an offshore account trying to hide it from his wife. So,
wow.
So What's My Name Web does work. Okay.
It does. And I always hear people saying how Reddit, like you can't get caught using Reddit, but clearly you can.
Yeah, you can get caught. So you don't get caught red-handed in any of these online stuff.
Right.
But it's the accumulation of evidence.
Yes.
Right. And it leads us down. It helps. How we do it is we have assumptions. I'm doing it on the camera here, y'all. We have assumptions over here when we first start a case. It may be 100 assumptions, right? And we may only be able to list out of those assumptions, turn them into about 3 facts. But we go through all those assumptions and see. We don't try to turn them in. We see if it leads us into facts.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. And people call it the scientific method. I think of science as we're researching dirt and stuff like that, trying to find molecules. But
right.
But it is a scientific method. We use
sure.
the same method that you see scientists with a microscope. We use it in our work as well. We take it, we get assumptions. How many assumptions do our clients have when they first come to us, Victoria?
A whole lot. A lot.
You can't cuss here, Victoria, but it's a lot.
It is a lot.
But they come with us with a bunch of assumptions. And sometimes they get mad at us when at the end we're like, hey, none of this is fact. Don't they?
Yeah.
They say, well, you didn't do your job. Okay, I did, actually. I can prove it. But we went down the list and started applying our tools to these assumptions and trying to turn those into facts.
Yes.
We don't turn them into facts. We see if they are factual. If there's some evidence that would make them factual. Right? What other topics of doing with What's My Name Web, Victoria?
I think we covered What's My Name fairly well.
Okay.
I'm just surprised it is accessible to everybody.
Yeah. So why would somebody want to use a PI to do it?
It takes a lot of time.
Right.
I mean, it genuinely does. And then to do the extra digging, like, yeah, you can put in the email and have it pull up these websites, but just like you said, you need to have someone who knows how to like dig further into it.
Right.
Just with that, putting that name in What's My App, you're not going to win anything with that.
We do get an occasion on there where it's a clear when we enter that website with their email address, we get a clear image like, okay, they're on Pornhub and here's some pictures where they posted their own videos.
Yeah.
That's about less than 1%. It's just showing where they browsed it, right? They've been there.
Yes.
And if there are issues with pornography, then yes, it does indicate that they are involved in it. All right. Usually it's searching pornography, not producing videos. All right? What's My Name does also, it gives you your dating sites.
Yes.
We had one recently where we put his email address in, and this guy was foolish enough to put his email address into the dating app Tinder. Is Tinder still, it's not as big as it used to be.
It's still pretty heavy.
Is it really?
Yeah, that it really is.
Okay. We see Tinder, we see Plenty of Fish is a big one. And the big one we've been seeing a lot lately is Adult Friend Finder.
I have seen that recently too on just like the
I always thought that was like a porn site. I guess it's dating as well. I'm not sure.
I've never heard of it until I started working for you. I'd never heard of Adult Friend Finder.
But anyways, so this guy was foolish enough to use his email address, everyday email address, with his Tinder profile. Jeez. And it popped right up on What's My Name. And we got in there with a fake Tinder account and found him. Took pictures of it, screenshots, and sent it over to his wife. She wasn't very happy about it.
Yeah, no. I can only imagine.
Very wealthy client, and they were fighting over significant sums of money, and this guy's out dating others. We'd already seen him dating out on dates with different women while he's still married, but this just showed where he's meeting them, where he's meeting these people. So,
jeez.
So yeah, it does show Tinder. It shows OnlyFans. If there's an OnlyFans account associated with that email address,
it's a great website. Yeah.
Big question is, Victoria, where do we find the email addresses?
So to find the email addresses, we use a system called TLOXP. It's available only to police officers and investigators. Yep. Basically, it runs. Oops, sorry.
You okay?
Sorry, it runs.
Hey, y'all, Victoria's turning her phone off.
Oh my gosh, so sorry.
Yeah.
It runs a background check, and that background check will show previous addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, and that's how we get the information for the subject to run and What's My Name.
Right. Yep. So yeah, TLO, very good tool. We've had several segments talking about TLO, I believe.
Yes.
And We use that. We put in people's name, date of birth, address, whatever, and it gives us all the email addresses they've ever created.
Crazy.
And their phone numbers.
Yeah.
So don't forget, What's My Name? We can also use phone numbers in there as well.
Yes. When I went yesterday to do it, I was like, I don't know if I can do phone numbers. And I just tried it out. And I'm like, hey, this is neat.
Also, we can use that email prefix off too, where everything before the @ Now, that gets a little more broad. Those can be, because you can have, say, my email address is moutlaw@gmail. There can be another guy with the moutlaw@outlook. All right. So it's a little more broad, but it can help us dig down, broaden the spectrum and investigate closer. So, all right. TLO is a good tool. That's where we get the email addresses and phone numbers from.
That's a great tool.
Yep.
You have to pay to use that, and you have to be licensed to use
It's cheap too, right, Victoria? No, it's not. It's about $1,000. Sometimes our bill gets up to $2,000 a month on that thing, depending on the caseload. So, but it is worth it, and it provides a service for our clients. If you haven't seen our commercial, it's what we use to do background checks.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Speaking of commercial, Victoria, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back and talk about Python script. I'm not a Python coder, but we use a script that helps us out a lot. We'll be back in just a second.
Bye.
Hey, I get a lot of calls from people that say, hey, I looked on Been Verified, Scope Now, Truthfinder, White Pages, all these different sites saying, hey, I found some information on a person, but when I followed up on it, it wasn't accurate. That's because those cheap and free services give you old information. That's the bottom line. We have a service where we give you the same information, but it's real time. You get bankruptcies, divorces, criminal record, if they're a sexual predator, where they live now, current phone numbers, email addresses, usernames, all these things you get in real time. We get this information by using a TLO database that's only available to private investigators, law enforcement, and federal agencies. So if you want real data now and talk to a real investigator now to get information that you need to move forward with your life, please give us a call, 866-910-7499, or you can click the link and fill out your information. That's 866-910-7499, or click the link and fill out your information. We want to help you with real-time data to help you move forward with your life. Everybody, we're back here, and me and Victoria were talking about, in the break, the new president. What do you think of him?
I like Trump. I really do. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with everything he's doing, but I do like him.
Do I like Trump, Victoria?
You love him.
We're probably going to lose some listeners here, but I do wear a MAGA hat on occasion. I'm not a January 6er. I didn't go up there for that. But yeah, I'm a diehard Republican, and he's our best option right now, in my opinion. But we're talking about deportations. All right. We get calls on those occasionally. All right. And they're usually looking for a immigration lawyer, and we refer them to one. But we've had them where illegal immigrants were going through divorce. How about that?
Wow.
It gets a little dicey. And we are, so about a year ago, we had one of those. All right. And I called the lawyer and said, hey, am I a mandatory reporter on with illegal immigrants? And she said, no, you don't have to. So anyway, so we did the job for them, and they went and got divorced. I don't know. It was weird.
Wow. So, that's very nice. These immigration lawyers about to have some work, though.
Yeah. So I think people should be able to come here.
Yes.
And get out of some of these crummy countries they live in. But we can't just have wholesale walk across.
Agreed.
Not vetted and all those things. But that's just my opinion. There needs to be more control over it. So, and that's all Trump's looking to do. Everybody's like, oh, he's going to kill kids and stuff. I don't think he is. But I think he just wants more control over it and get a system in place that works.
Yeah. Right. Which is all we can ask for real.
So we digress from migrant to immigration.
Yes.
It is in the news a lot. The presidency is in the news a lot.
It really is.
But so we talked about it a little bit. But anyways, let's get into more open. This is all called open source intelligence. So it is we use another tool called Magrit. You haven't dived into that one as much, have you?
Is it dived like one video on how it works, so I do not know too much about it.
You going to today?
I'm going to.
Is it dived or dove?
I dove into it.
You dove into it?
Yeah.
Today you're diving into
Today I'm diving into it.
Okay, good.
Yes.
My English teacher, she's probably like rolling her eyes at me.
That's my grandma. Would always correct me.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, Magrit. Magrit, we use it in Python. Some of y'all are familiar with it. All Python is a terminal where we can write code and make things happen. You can create programs out of it. And it's just a programming language is all it is. Mm-hmm. And we use a tool in there called Magrit. All right. It's a script we put in, and anybody can use it. Now, this is a little more complex. You have to be able to get to a terminal. In Windows doesn't play well with it. We use Amazon, their script terminal to do it. And then we can put in these email addresses. It's a little more open, I guess you would say. It has more power than What's My Name Web, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But it's harder to use. It's not as user friendly. Okay. So you put in the username or email address or phone number, whichever one you want. And it tells all associations with that email address across all websites, open, dark web. So people say, oh, you can't check the dark web.
Little smile.
Yes, we can.
We can.
Nothing's secret. Everybody's like, oh, I'm secret here, I'm secret there. Here's the issue with dark web. We're going to have a whole segment on dark web. But if you get into the dark web, you are not going to be using your personal email address. Okay. So people have to go out and create another one. Now, we get people that are dumb enough, they get this email address that they use on the dark web, and they go register it and use it as a personal email address to get a Verizon account. And then we got it now.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how that works. And so we rely on people's stupidity. I wouldn't say stupidity. They're arrogant. Does that sound better?
Just naive to the game.
Naive. They don't think anybody can catch them.
Yeah.
They're arrogant. But yeah, Magrit is a powerful tool. It tells us everything going on that you have ever been associated with in the history of the internet with that email address. That's crazy, right?
It's so insane.
What's My Name? Now, this one gets into the script of the websites, okay? Where What's My Name just goes off search engine mentions, right? There's a difference. That's why Magrit's more powerful. I've seen a lot of people say that Magrit is not a good tool, all this, blah, blah, blah. We've had good success with it. So if you want to not use it, that's great. We're going to use it, though.
You might be lacking some evidence.
There's another one out there called Sherlock. It's not as powerful.
I've heard of Sherlock.
It's not as good, in my opinion, with limited results. Now, if you get into Magrit, some of y'all may want to go try it out yourself. You can go to GitHub and figure out how to do it. And it's not, once you figure it out, it's easy, but it's not that easy to start up. But once you get it going, it works pretty well. It works really well. And you can say, hey, I do this myself. You're going to put an email in, you're going to get 1,000 results. All right. There's these things out there called scrapers. It's where these websites, particularly Russian sites, they pay for email addresses from Amazon, from Google, from Microsoft, you name it. They'll buy a bulk batch of email addresses and they will use them to send out spam email. You ever get spam email?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's where that comes from. So how did they get my email address? I never bought anything from a Russian boutique, right? But that's where it shows up. But you have to dig in there and see which ones are legit and which ones aren't. Okay. This one also reveals Tinder, OnlyFans, all the porn sites you can think of, all the dating sites you can think of. But you gotta go in and physically inspect each one. And when you enter that email address, it'll tell you if they have an account. The big one we've been finding lately, we talked about, was Adult Friend Finder. Yes. And you get in there and it says this account is not visible. It just means that they don't have it public for searching, right? So, but they do have an account there. Right? What do you think of Magrit so far, Victoria?
I think it's a really neat tool. I mean, you definitely have to do a lot of physical work inside of it and like the coding part of it. But it seems like once you understand that, it's just a powerhouse of it.
Do you let your fiance look at it?
I think he's been using Magrit for a minute.
Yeah, he's Victoria's fiance is a computer engineer, so he's all up into this stuff.
He's familiar.
Yeah. He uses Python on a daily for not just Magrit, but other stuff, I'm sure. But Python, people use it for security checks. You can do pen testing with it. You can do all kinds of things.
That's what he did. Yeah.
But I've used it for pen test. But we're not getting into pen test today. We're still talking about open source intel. Now we find these sites. What do we do with it? That's a redundant question, I guess.
Right. I mean, you're just screenshotting the evidence that you have found this website that they're associated with.
Yeah, we screenshot it. We're going to get into some more podcasts later in the week about how we've used this to get people. But the big thing we do is recently the trend is a woman comes to me and says, hey, I think my husband's on these dating sites. And we go, okay. And we run them through TLO, get their phone numbers, get their email addresses, and then we put them in the Magrit, and it says yes or no they are, or they are not. Now, when you click on there, it may not show a profile picture. It may not show them in a suggested post saying date me.
Right.
Right. They're usually fat guys too, which is disgusting. It's pretty disgusting, but they got the big belly hanging out. I'm like, come on, dude. Nobody likes you. But anyways, apparently somebody does. But
yeah, true.
But then, we get in there and then we start trying to track them through our fake accounts and getting an actual profile picture of them. Mm-hmm. All right. I have several fake accounts on Plenty of Fish and these different dating sites.
Yeah.
Usually I'm a little Asian lady.
That's so funny.
What do you think? What do you think, Victoria?
It suits you perfect.
Does it?
It suits you so well.
I'm kind of a big bald guy. But anyway, I'm a little Asian lady looking for a fun time. And I love walks in the park and I have a dog.
That's so funny.
Anyways, nothing serious, not smoker. I do drink on occasion.
That is so funny.
That's what the profile says. What do you think of that so far?
I think that's beautiful.
Anyways, but American men go crazy over the Asian women for some reason.
Yeah.
I get a lot of likes on there and like nudges and stuff. But yeah.
Oh my God.
My fake account. But not all accounts are real, y'all, when you're on these dating sites. I understand dating apps are a real thing.
Right.
All right.
Right.
If you're single and all those things. But we get on there to troll people we're investigating. Mm-hmm. And that's how we find their sites. I got fake accounts there. I got Adult Friend Finder fake account.
And Adult Friend Finder doesn't really seem to be like a dating site. It really does seem to be more for like hookups.
So Adult Friend Finder. So you get Plenty of Fish. Here's what I found in my experience. Okay. I met my wife way before dating apps were a thing. I've learned about dating apps through this job. Yeah. Okay. Adult Friend Finder, Plenty of Fish, Tinder are the trashier, hey, let's hook up now. Mm-hmm. It's more of a sex hookup thing. They're there to have sex, and there's prostitutes on there, escorts they call them. Yeah. And then you got your other ones, eHarmony, and those are more for, hey, I want a relationship type. They're less trashy.
Farmers Only.
FarmersOnly.com.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So I go to church and we got these young girls and they're like, I'd say they're college age or whatever. Yeah, and one the other day was like, hey, I met a guy on a dating app. I said, was it Farmers Only? So they started laughing. It was actually Christian Mingle. But
wow, that's actually, I've never been on that.
But I don't know. I've not messed with those two very much. I just know the commercial.
Yeah.
It's got dudes hauling hay and got horses and a tractor. I'm like, who'd want to get hooked up with a farmer? They're all in debt and they have a drinking problem. I don't know who wants to do that.
You're really not wrong with that. But it's not too far wrong.
But we have fake accounts and we go in. We're there to try to find the person we're investigating. Yes. That's all we're there for.
Yes.
And Magrit and What's My Name Web are very powerful tools we use it's open source. You can go do it. Mm-hmm. All right. Now we do it for a fee and we have the investigative tools and knowledge to back up what we find there.
Absolutely.
Instead of you going, hey, here's an email address connected with Pornhub. You got to have more meat behind that, other than just, hey, I saw an email address on this thing. Mm-hmm. Right? You got to be able to go in and describe it, how you got it, how you came about getting that email address. And that's what we do. That's how we get paid.
Yes.
Anything else, Victoria?
I think that's a good summary of both.
All right. We're going to close it up on this episode, but stay tuned. We got more coming. See ya.
Peace.